Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bregadon. Let's land on Footfall and see about increasing our profit factor, hopefully by 3.
Is there money to be made? I always have a backup plan.
So I think I went up by 4 or 5. Got a little click happy there and I wasn't counting. But we'll see soon enough. Got a little turned around there. Yeah, 52. So went up by 5. Right, I think we're at 57. Yeah, because I wanted 3 for 50. Alright, so we got a reconstructed flamer pistol. When hit by this weapon, all melee attacks against a target gain plus 10% critical hit chance and plus 15% critical damage for 2 turns. Got some large medikits. And Warworld Origin Enforcer Carapace. Medium armor. Base armor property plus 10% armor against human enemies. And world property plus 10% dodge. And a power axe. Not as good as our Mars pattern chain axe. It has better armor penetration. Alright, Commissar Boots. Whenever the wearer chooses an ally as the target of their ability, the wearer immediately gains a movement points to scale with fellowship bonus. The targeted ally gains movement points at the start of this ally's next turn. And Torment Bracelets. If the wearer deals damage, their enemies suffer warp damage, with armor penetration of 10% for each cell the enemy has moved during the wearer's turn. And Heretical Adherent. The enemies suffer from 1 to 6 warp damage instead. This doubles the max damage. Yeah, we'll give those to her instead. We'll pretend that she raided our wardrobe, since we're a Commissar, and those are Commissar boots. Yeah, not gonna swap that out. seems like an upgrade for her. We could swap to this instead. But there are enemies that are immune to burn damage, so... Oh, this is actually better than the Unstable Flamer. Interesting. I'm going to stick with the Unstable Flamer because it has better range. Bold Flames covers more space than the spray shot on the pistol, which causes her one ability to scale because it does more damage based on how many enemies she hits with an attack. Concentrated Fire. Alright, let's head over to the Imperium. Lord Captain, Ravor on the line. The astropaths are going crazy in their little chamber. They're reporting severe warp disturbances along our intended route. Looks like the Maw is completely impassable. I've seen this before, yes, and if you ask me, going in there is not a good idea. For us or any other void ship. Oh, interesting. I wonder if this is game over. So he's saying that not only will I break through the Maw to the Imperium, but I'll cover myself in glory as the conqueror of the raging warp. Forward. I'll see to it, Lord Captain. The Emperor protects. By the grace of the Emperor, I have been charged with chronicling the voyage that my blessed commander, Lord Captain Donald, intends to undertake through that turbid tract of the warp known as the Maw. The thought of what lies ahead fills our souls with terror, but we all have faith in the light of the Emperor. May his protection be with us now. A message from the Astropathic Choir. Lord Captain, we once again draw your attention to the fact that the warp region of the Maw is more turbulent than usual. The Diviner's vigil portends death for us, and much worse besides. This is not our first decade perceiving the void. We have seen terrible storms, but none like this. We beseech you, please have mercy on us. If that be not your will, we stand ready to serve until the end. A charted course for expedition. Report from Navigator's Sanctum. Lord Captain, we have locked onto the blessed light of the Astronomicon, and are ready to make our first warp jump to the Hermitage. Once in the Void Station's orbit, we will carry out maintenance liturgies and, with luck, exchange information with other trade void ships there that are using that region as a rendezvous point. The second warp jump will be made to the witch-cursed world, a foul and lifeless planet, at which point we will assess the state of the vessel. A third warp jump is planned to Port Wander, where, the Protector willing, we will reach the vast expanse of the Imperium, and we will abide there in safety. After offering up the requisite prayers, the crew received a Vox address from the Blessed Lord Captain, in which our commander gave the order to initiate the jump to the Hermitage. We made it to the Hermitage, an outcome made possible solely by the Emperor's mercy. The ship has been chewed up by the ravenous Imperium, and madness has taken root across our decks and stalks among us, staring us in the eyes. The vessel is in orbit around the station, thronged by thousands of silent satellites, the jettisoned bodies of the dead. I spent the entire jump in the murky depths of the Astropathic Choir Bay, where acolytes of the ship's surgeon walk back and forth in silence. After singing the healing liturgy from beginning to end, they marched among the psychers who had been medicated into unconsciousness. Any psycher who awoke, often with howls of horror, was quickly pacified with a sharp jab from an electrified baton. Every moment now, I hear a voice full of vehement and ire. It is the voice of the Angel of the Emperor. It is so ferocious, My very blood fears it. Fling my body through my ears, eyes, and nose. The angel bade me compile a picked chronicle of the horrors recorded by the servo skulls in the ship's bays. May whoever finds it know the torments we suffered before death. 59 damage taken. Incident report. I saw the picked recordings made on various decks with my own eyes. With horror and avid curiosity, I relished each bloody detail, drinking in the stream of chaotic, incomprehensible scenes. Nameless dread blossomed in my soul. I saw a bloody massacre in the Enginarium, people armed with tools bashing each other's heads in. I saw a deck full of violently convulsing bodies covered in a layer of mold and sprouting grotesque fungi. I witnessed a crowd of crew members walk toward an opening airlock with mindless, exultant smiles on their faces, and be caught a moment later on a wave of air and wrenched out into the cold embrace of nothingness. With my own eyes, I saw a gunner steadily hitting a large caliber shell with a wrench, and inside a cogitator, I could just make out the bloody remains of an engine seer, and possibly squeeze in among the tangled wires. So much horror, so little hope. Engine Seer's Report. Report from Engine Seer Deck. My lord, it grieves me to report the demise of 27.61% of the blessed machine spirits entrusted to my care. Reactors 2 and 3 required expedited burials, and the deck's crew held a vigil in their memory. The servitors have logged at least 11 breaches in the whole exterior, and at least 3 in the whole interior. With my lord's gracious permission, I'll endeavor to save what can still be saved. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. Hermitage Station Situation Report. Scouting Expedition Report. I don't know how they haven't gone crazy yet, sitting in the middle of this warp storm. There are around 1,000 people there, a few hundred outcasts and anchorites living permanently on the station, and the crew of a trading vessel that barely made it as far as the Hermitage and won't be departing ever again. It seems they spend whole days sitting under their crystal dome praying, eating ration packs, and watching as reality loses its mind. They say the Emperor will protect them against the coming tempest. Of course they do. He's the only thing they can trust in now. For them, there is nowhere else to turn. We offered them passage on our ship. Not one said yes. Mad. All of them. When the message came through the Voxnet, I struggled to hear it over the whispering of the angel in my ears. My honorable lord gave the order to make the warp jump to the witch-cursed world. I have a feeling the ship's not going to make it. Another 48 damage taken. We're at the witch-cursed world, the place where we are doomed to perish. That is what the Emperor's angel told me, his voice almost impossible to bear. It bade me record every drop of sorrow. My chronicle will spread his word through the warp, and so terror in all who come to know of our dire voyage. So speaks the angel, and my own thoughts are so muddled that all I can do now is submit and bear witness. As soon as the ship exited the warp, thousands of crew members assembled into teams, launching and repairing the major areas of damage. The will of our fearless Lord Captain drove them, and in that moment, I deeply envied their resolve. The Lord Captain's honorable companion, Heinrich van Calix, personally led the ship's hands to the most seriously damaged decks. First, he admonished the cowardly crew members who refused to do their duty. Then he banished the fear from their hearts with a single shot. Verily, the man's mercy is great indeed. I left the astropathic choir bay and spent this jump in the navigator's sanctum. Though the number of casualties was high there, many managed to survive, including me. Furthermore, when the malevolent tentacles of the warp reached into our souls, and a bloody inscription in an unholy language began to appear on the bulkhead, the Emperor granted me the blessing of bearing witness to a miracle. Sister Argenta, entirely undaunted, marched up to the bulkhead and erased the words with a fearless swipe of her hand. She turned to us with a smile and said, "It is only blood. Do not fear the Imperium, for its nightmares are nothing before the Emperor's light." In that moment, I had faith that all was not yet lost. Today, I believe I was mistaken. The losses and damage are enormous. They say there was a mutiny. The Master Helmsman reports 1. that the odds of surviving another jump forward are 0. The odds of a successful jump backward are also 0. But the second 0 is slightly less definitive. Internal systems are failing. Cogitators are experiencing periodic failure. A report from Ship's Confessor. Master report, stop. The rousing speech from the Lord Captain, which was broadcast over the Vox system, inspired the crew, who promptly broke into teams to repair the primary systems. The volunteers, all departed, were later lauded in prayer. Navigational forecast. Report from Navigator's Sanctum. Lord Captain, the crew of the Navigator's Sanctum have virtually lost the light of the Astronomicon. Our only hope is to retrace our steps both in our thoughts and in our pain. Save us, or lead us to our deaths. We will follow you no matter what. Incident Report. The Pict Chronicle recorded by the eyes of the servo skulls made my heart stutter. In horror, I watched as a crewman, who seemed perfectly healthy, struggled against the shackles pinning him to an operating table, and a group of doctors, whispering excitedly among themselves, drew out their steel surgical instruments and eagerly began cutting into his flesh. I cried out as I watched engine seers burning holy incense and chanting the prayer to waken the plasma generator's machine spirit. A young acolyte, his heart wavering, accidentally disrupted the liturgy, releasing the motive force into the power circuit before it was time, and my poor eyes were blinded by the white light of the explosion. After that, I was silent, but that was the only way I could continue to watch. Technomats in dirty coveralls reverentially pour chalices of blood onto the base of a macabre tree. A weapon pointed upward, its supports outspread like branches, and hanging from them like ripe fruit were the bodies of the base officers. After tossing aside his discharged last gun, a priest brought his fingers to his bleeding ears and then daubed these crimson words on the bulkhead. Don't listen to him. He is no angel. Who was he talking to? Me? Scarlet roses, their buds bleeding, were growing through the bulkheads, which were covered with patches of rot. Crew members in black uniforms incinerated them with flamethrowers, weeping black tears and roaring with maniacal laughter. A string of people silently entered an airlock, above which was written Hangar C-11-2, and were lost to the darkness. As the Deputy Cardo artifacts, I know the ship's layout well. There has never been a Hangar C-11-2. The unknown has touched our vessel, and has taken root in it, and now we are all in the clutches of the Imperium. A Witch-Cursed World Situation Report. Engine Seer Avler's report from Augur Station 12. We must not make planetfall. I know what I saw, and no, we must not set down on that planet. It is not because the wind could tear the hull off the landing shuttle in the blink of an eye, or because the temperature on the surface fluctuates between red-hot plasma and absolute zero. No, it's because planets do not have faces, but this one did. A vast face of jagged plateaus, eyes of fiery tornadoes, and a mouth made from a crater half a continent across. I saw that face smiling at me. It saw me. It saw all of us. We must not make planetfall. Emperor, have mercy on us. Addendum. Engine Seer Avler was executed 4 hours after submitting this report, for fomenting panic among the crew. Over the static and the howling of the unholy warp spirits that have infiltrated our Vox system, we heard that the voice of our Lord Captain, who ordered us to make the warp jump to Port Wander. The senior officers from all decks gave a general report to my blessed Lord Captain. According to the assessments of all the ship's services, the chances of a favorable outcome of a jump to Port Wander were 0. On behalf of the entire crew, they declared that serving under our glorious commander had been an honor, and if it was his will, they're ready to forge onward and meet their deaths. Glory to House Von Valancius and its valiant servants. We were all prepared to die that very hour, and then the Lord Captain bade us praise the Emperor, for we were going home. Report from the Navigator's Sanctum. Lord Captain, warp jump to the Hermitage cannot be calculated. We cannot detect its shadow within the sacred radiance of the Astronomicon. The warp storms are obstructing everything. We think our only chance is to make a longer jump to Footfall. Our chances of survival are low, but not non-existent. Emperor preserve us. Our path became clear. Footfall was our destination. The warp jump is complete. We're still ourselves. Can I scroll down? I don't know if we took more damage or not. We are still ourselves, and we are alive, although only a tenth of those who set out on this expedition remains. But we have seen everything. Now nothing can dent the crew's spirit. I cannot say the same for my own. The left side was engulfed in a terrible fire, threatening to undermine the main caliber arsenal chambers. Holding tighter to their faith, the crew members responded as one to the harsh voice of our illustrious Lord Captain, and rushed to save what remained of the vessel. The angel no longer speaks to me, and a strange emptiness has settled within my soul. Carrying this deficiency inside me is unbearable. Here ends my chronicle, and my duty has been fulfilled. I will append a report about the sorry state of this ship after I go to the engine series to request voluntary servitorization. The Emperor protects. Ship status report. Report from the Navigator's Sanctum. The warp is a sly and insidious beast, Lord Captain. We are ready to acknowledge that now. It is pleased that we admitted our defeat. That is why it let us come back. We believe there can only be one reason for that. An even worse fate awaits us here. Master Steward's report. Crew losses 87%. Didn't we have like 20,000 people on our ship? Jeez. Due to the death of the acting transmechanic on the engineer deck, I'm reporting that the damage to the ship is widespread and all-encompassing. We're running diagnostics now. Thanks to the ship's confessor reading extracts from the Code of Punishment over the Vox system, the emergency repairs were completed much sooner, and the ship's critical node saved. Report on crew morale. Report from Deck 1 Senior Officer Fount. We're avoidsmen, sir. We know we will die long before we ever get the chance to soil ourselves in our sickbed. We know our trade. We conquer the void, discover stars, ship freight, and plunder forgotten planets. And we die. We die in ways so horrible that most people can't even imagine such a death. Well, we've gone to a place others fear to even think about. We come back from there, along with our Lord Captain. Next time the warp tries to play its games, we'll tell it. What else do you have to throw at us? A report on Reactorium incident. Master Helmsman's report. I'd be willing to swear that Generator 6's power circuit unit was switched off when we began the warp jump. There are cracks in the casing. The enclosure is damaged. We would never start up that piece of junk. It would have blown in seconds. I have no idea how it switched itself on. No one from the crew touched it. When the last generator failed, the energy supply should have been cut off, but number 6 continued to run. It dragged us along for 18 minutes, even though it should have exploded after 18 milliseconds. I don't know how that happened. The Emperor protects. But we tried. And it seemed like that was the end. I'm not going to tell my crew to die. I assumed that everybody would have died if I had taken that option. Alright, where to next? We'd head to Dargonis, but we're going to go past it. I've seen this before. Let's jump into the fray. And once again, stretch our legs.
Just a minor
whoops.
setback. Data meditation is terminated. Grovel before the true power of humanity.
Victory is imminent.
I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury!
My vow is to serve.
Not sure why these are on this side.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. Running binary override.
Oh, that was the wrong thing.
Naturally. More trouble than it's worth.
I'm enraged!
It's as good as done. Taking calculated risk is in my second nature.
At your beck and call. A tactically sound approach. I will do my duty.
Let the cycle be discontinued. Request approved. My vow is to serve. Vital functions successfully terminated.
Tell me, and it is done.
But of course, Lord Captain. I'll put my psychic abilities to use. For the throne. Let's see to it.
Should have used that first.
You've got a problem? I've got a prize. Oh, you're no fun.
It's gonna move this up a bit, so
Am I
Heinrich's
getting
standing
paid
inside of
for
it.
this? Don't get too cocky.
I won't object. But of course, Lord. Let's see to it. Naturally. I'm done with this one.
Oh, he's doing pretty good. Gonna do that.
I won't object to it.
Just the next attack, right?
Let's see to it. Be gone.
Something like that. He's doing some good work.
High momentum.
Yeah, so 6 multiplied by the number of enemies adjacent. I should have used this first, but now it's, there should be 18 extra damage on his attacks. Which is pretty silly. Now, what's his crit chance? 46%.
For the throne guides my hand. Everyone, step aside. I won't object to it. I'm done with this one.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Naturally. Be gone.
For a while there, I thought Argento was going to be the one to carry us through all these
Rise to
fights,
the
but
top.
I mean,
Or go
Heinrich's
left
an
in the dust.
absolute monster. Which is good. I like when melee builds shine greater than range builds. It's weird. Not sure why I shot up there. Alright, so we can actually skip Amunis Valancius altogether. Head towards Narmer 4. Let's not jump there yet, because there may be a fight on the way there. Yeah, the plan is to take care of these two systems and jump over here to Lapidus Mortis and Last Chance of Cyrene before we do Dargonus. I think we're approaching the end of all the stuff that we can explore. Oh, we have projects to take care of too. I don't think there's... I can do a shrine on Foulstone. I do think Crusade... No, we can't do Crusade because we don't have Bonfires of Righteousness. We do need people for this one. And we have 0. Oh, we do get the hammer for this, though. I think... Oh, that seems pretty good, too. But I don't mind having the hammer. All damage dealt with this weapon pushes an enemy's increased by 100%. Okay. I mean, all of these fit my character. I think Crusade is probably the best one, but we've locked ourselves out of that. Let's go do the shrine, so I can get my hammer. Then watch us immediately find a better one. So, shrine worlds are treasures of the Imperium, spiritual gems shining in the darkness. For Faustone to become a shrine world would require an ocean's worth of thrones and bribes, greedy ecclesiarchy officials, as well as mountains of extremely rare materials to erect cathedrals worthy of the status. However, succeeding will give House von Valancius prestige, and the Order of the Hammer's eternal gratitude. And actually, since I am going the dogmatic route, this one probably makes the most sense. I think a shrine world is the most dogmatic option. I mean, all of these are dogmatic, but I think this will work. And we'll get a +2 profit factor, +3 complacency, +3 security, and +3 efficiency. And the Hammer of Epiphany, which is the hammer we gave up when we first showed up. That by itself is probably worth it. Alright, so we got our stimulants. What next? I think we'll go ahead and do this. This does block rows of Zamerkand. Hidden plantations will allow the production of hallucinogenic poisons that sting the victim's very genes. Don't think that's, Yeah, no, this is the more dogmatic option. So the Science of Virtue requires reputation with the Drusians, and it'll block that project. We get the Eyes of Joyous. Where psi rating is increased by +1 against demons for each rank of dogmatic. That'll be really good on Heinrichs. I will get some Drusian reputation, +2 complacency, and -1 efficiency. All the corruption on Yanis originated in the sophistries of unholy scholars. Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso, a preacher of the cult of St. Drusus, is going to visit Yanis to perform the procedure of blessed elimination of the agri-complexes and demarcation of the irrigation systems. Instead of relying on the advice of godless janitors, he will be guided by the wise examples set in hagiographies of the saints, the teachings of righteous scriptures, and the pious sacred geometry of the iconographers. Iconographers, yeah, I said that right. May faith triumph over the sophistication of soulless metal. Heck yeah. And Kiava Gamma. Lord Captain, tech priests have made a sinister discovery on Kiava Gamma, a blasphemous machine built at the behest of the wicked Cubus Delphum. This mechanism is capable of picking up the whispers of the warp. It seems to occasionally transmit a discordant binaric melody into nowhere, but no encrypted data or other threats have been detected. It seems to be a functional side effect of sorts. Of course, the idea of using a machine instead of astropaths to contact the voices of the warp may seem tempting, but this machine is teeming with corruption. Its fuel tanks are satiated with the liquefied souls of your subjects. It has enough for now, but someday it will have to be refilled. How could Cubus construct such a powerful and monstrous machine? To find the dictums of the Omnissiah, the heretic had entered into a dangerous field of experimentation with the warp technology. It is dangerous knowledge, but the ancient and incredibly complex Vox core of the mechanism is much older than Delphum is. He had probably found it here, and made use of it to fulfill his needs. What are the risks of using this machine? Typical of contact with the Immaterium, it intercepts information from the warp, which puts the minds and souls of the staff serving the machine in jeopardy. The warp is treacherous. What does my retinue think about this? On behalf of the Inquisition, I hereby declare a ban on any contact with this device. It must be removed and given to our acolytes. Normally, that'd be all. But I'll explain further, out of respect for you, despite not doing your quest. Also, there's a space between you and that period. It's bothering me. The Inquisition can reap benefits from this heretical machine. Our trained acolytes are able to carry a vigil near it, carefully listening to the dark whispers of the spirits of the Immaterium without succumbing to their corruption. We could discover their plans, and warn the rogue trader whenever any threat would loom over his domain. So that's why sometimes I stumble over words. Because I'm scanning for stuff like that. Not intentionally, just happen to do it. Or it'll catch my eye without me actually looking for it, and it throws me off. The demons wanted us to hear their vile speeches. Let them hear our righteous cry. Donald, let me summon the most zealous preachers who would dedicate their lives and zeal to reading a litany of fury and rage into this machine. Let the inhabitants of the warp hear us and fear us. This blasphemous creation has to be anathematized and deconstructed. In the name of total knowledge acquisition, the principles of its work must be inspected beforehand in great secrecy, requesting the right to investigate the heretical device before disposing of it. Alright, I have a few options here, so we could give it to Heinrichs. We also get Otherworldly Observer. All allies gain +7 awareness, as well as security +1. We can just listen to the machine, which gives us the same thing, but we also lose -1 complacency. So the same thing is this, without the, or with the negative, the debuff. And for Argenta, we could just yell at the warp. I kind of like that idea. We'll get complacency and reputation with the Drusians, and Emperor's Voice. Ooh, +7 persuasion. We could transmit with it, which gives us security and efficiency. Research and deconstruct will get the Imperium transceiver. Whenever the wearer is targeted by an ally's ability, the wearer gains allies fellowship bonus temporary wounds. That'd be really good on Cassia. That's kind of how I was building her anyway. And destroying it gives us the same thing and a loss of efficiency. So your allies just give you options where you basically you lose the debuffs. Though with Argenta, it's a little different. Yeah, let's yell at the warp. And so be it, Argenta. Shake the warp with a wrathful sermon in honor of the Emperor. May the wicked cower in fear. The invited preachers, strict and stern, have started to take shifts reciting a formidable litany about the inevitable victory of the Emperor into the Boxcaster. Their angry words flew straight into the Imperium, reverberated in the ears of the spirits that inhabited it, unable to hide from this righteous diatribe. If one of the preachers would die, another one would take his place, and there's no shortage of the volunteers. And we got the Dark Marchesa from the previous project. This will block Flawless Servitors. That's the Rotator specifically. If it was the whole party, I think that'd be better. So we have a Extractium on hand. We can... Oh, wow. 10 of those. I really want that, but we need efficiency. Greater than or equal to 4. Flawless Servitors. Alright, so we have to choose between these two. I think the Tech Guards is probably what I'd lean towards anyway, as a Commissar. I'd be more focused on combat than this. So let's go the Vigil of the Tech Guards. Actually, what are the rewards for this one? Oh, that's cool. So you get Battle Servitors. So they're both... focused on fighting. Why don't we get... I mean, these are actual combat units. I feel like they should be able to show up to our fights as well. I mean, this is cool. We don't need them. We're not struggling in our random encounters at all. So I'm still going to go with this. And this also impacts all colonies. Well, so does that with the efficiency. That's fine. Alright. The Adeptus Mechanicus are concerned about the recent outbreak of heresy on Kiaba Gamma. They offer to enter into a solemn alliance with House von Valancius. Under its terms, an ancient workshop preserved by Lady Theodore's order become the site of a Paratus Scitarius, a factory which would produce the invincible tech guards. These unrelenting warriors, impeccable in their digital vows, will secure every Adeptus Mechanicus facility in the Protectorate. And we get Wisdom of the Tech Guards, so the Rogue Trader gains plus 10 to tech use, which is odd, right? And would that not be better for the Servitor one? Like, I think these should be swapped around. Then we get plus 2 security for all colonies. Again, as a Commissar, I think security would be my Rogue Trader's primary concern. So if we find a place that has Phlogiston, we can knock out 2 more projects here. Just have to remember where the Phlogiston's at. But we'll take care of that next time. We're going to go and try and place our Extractium somewhere. Ideally somewhere with at least 3 Phlogiston. And then we'll continue exploring systems. Also, real quick, I want to check in with the Drusians because we just got several thousand reputation with them between the choice we made with Argenta and yelling into the warp, which is just a ridiculous concept. And the project that we did. Yes, we get the Death World War Boots. These boots grant the wearer a plus 15% dodge reduction bonus for attacks with melee weapons. And Radiant Gloves. This item grants the wearer a plus 5 bonus to parry reduction. If the wearer has Conviction Iconoclast, all allies gain % hit chance against enemies adjacent to the wearer. The wearer automatically dodges allies' melee attacks. That would be really good on Abelard, depending on what he already has. I think he has a one of the basic buff gloves, right? Yeah, weapon skill and strength. Yeah, we'll give that to him. The weapon skill and strength would go well on... Yeah, I'm gonna give that to him instead. The persuasion, I mean, we have plenty of persuasion. I'm not too worried about losing, was it 5? What's our parry chance? Oh, 95%. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Cool. All right. Oh, and the boots. The boots. Oh, that's too good to give up. Now, I think the Rogue Trader's Cloak, 1, is more thematic, and 2 is a better bonus. I don't mind the Distraction Cape, though. Oh yeah, this is really good for snowballing. So yeah, we'll keep that on him as well. Okay, I'm happy with our current equipment setup. But for now, I'm going to call it here, and next time we've got a plan. I need to find some Phlogiston, ideally, and continue exploring. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.